I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake and I'm 34. I married Emily about 5 years ago, and honestly, for the first few years, everything seemed perfect. She was gorgeous, confident, a bit bitchy at times, but in a way that was kinda sexy. We were that couple everyone envied, happy, successful, and always out doing something fun, or so I thought. Lately, though, I started noticing small things. She'd be late coming home from work more often, and when she was home, she'd be glued to her phone, texting or scrolling through social media like her life depended on it. She'd get defensive if I asked about it, say I was just being paranoid. But I was. I could sense something was off, and honestly, I felt like I was losing her. Then came the nights where she'd leave the house for a girls' night, but wouldn't come back until late or sometimes not at all. She'd make up stories about meetings or drinks with friends, but I'd find lipstick stains on her shirts or receipts from places I never heard of. I brushed it off, told myself I was just imagining things. I didn't want to believe Emily, who always lied so effortlessly, was capable of cheating. One night I was cleaning up the living room when I saw her phone sitting on the coffee table. It was unlocked, which was unusual because she always kept it password protected. I don't know why I did it, just a moment of weakness, I guess. I swiped her passcode in my mind from the few times she'd been careless with it, and there it was, messages. Not just casual chats, but flirty texts, with some guy named Ryan. She was talking about meeting him for sex, describing how hot he was and how she couldn't wait to see him again. My stomach dropped. I felt like my insides turned to ice. I stared at her messages for what felt like forever, trying to process what I was reading. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure she'd hear it if she walked in. I couldn't believe it, my wife, the woman I loved, cheating on me with some guy I'd never even heard of. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness. I wanted to wake her up right then, confront her, tear her apart, but I knew I had to plan my next move carefully. This wasn't just a fling, I could tell. It had been going on for months. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind spun with questions. How long has this been going on? Was I blind, or just stupid for not noticing earlier? The next morning, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing, replaying everything I'd seen. I felt numb but also incredibly furious. I kept asking myself, how could she lie to me like that for so long? How could she pretend everything was fine while sneaking behind my back? I knew I had to confront her, but I also needed a plan. I couldn't just accuse her without proof, and I didn't want to get caught off guard again. I decided to wait for the right moment, but every time I saw her acting normal, laughing at her phone, brushing her hair, making her bitchy comments, I felt like I might explode. It was like living with a stranger, and I hated it. I started noticing little things that I'd overlooked before. She'd hide her phone more carefully, keep her conversations secretive, and whenever I tried to ask her about her business trips or work meetings, she'd brush it off with a snarky remark or a dismissive laugh. Her attitude was getting worse, more defensive, more bitchy. I knew she was hiding something, and I was sick of pretending everything was okay. One night I decided to follow her. I told myself I wasn't going to be a guy who stalks his wife, but I couldn't just sit around and do nothing. I waited until she left the house, then I followed her car. She drove to a fancy hotel downtown, one I knew was expensive, and checked in under her name. I parked around the corner and waited. For what, I wasn't exactly sure, but I had to see her with my own eyes. I needed to confirm what I already suspected. Almost an hour later, she came out of the hotel looking flustered but satisfied. She got in her car and drove to some little coffee shop, acting like nothing had happened. I watched her through my binoculars, feeling a weird mix of relief and dread. She was definitely seeing someone else, no doubt about it now. That's when I realized that whatever plan I had in mind, I'd need to be smart. She was clever and she loved lying her way out of anything. I had to catch her red-handed if I wanted to have any leverage. I sat in my car for a while trying to process this new revelation. My wife, Emily, the woman I trusted with everything, was out there cheating on me and lying every step of the way. The betrayal hit me hard. Suddenly, every moment of our marriage played back in my mind. Her little lies, her sneers when I asked questions, her flirtatious glances at Ryan. I felt like I was living in a nightmare and I didn't know how to wake up from it. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. Not without a fight. That night I couldn't sleep again. My mind kept circling back to her face when I confronted her, the way she lied so effortlessly, the way her bitchy attitude got worse every day. I knew I had to do something more concrete. I couldn't just keep following her around forever. I needed proof that I could use, something undeniable. I remember. I had installed a small hidden camera in the living room a few weeks earlier, just in case. I'd read about this kind of thing online, thinking it might come in handy someday. I didn't expect it to be used for this, but now I was glad I did. I decided to set it up again in the bedroom, hidden behind a picture frame. I wanted to catch her in the act if she ever brought Ryan home or met him somewhere. It was risky, but I needed to see her with my own eyes. The next day I made sure she was out of the house. She'd left early for some meeting that I knew was a lie. I set up the camera, positioned it carefully so it wouldn't be obvious. When she left, I watched her get in her car, then I moved around the house, waiting for her to come back. I was nervous. My stomach was in knots, but I knew I had to do this. If I was going to confront her, I needed solid evidence. A few hours later, I saw her car pull into the driveway. My heart pounded. I tried to act normal, but inside I felt like I was about to explode. She came in acting normal at first, but I sensed her nervousness. Then out of nowhere, the camera clicked to life. I watched the footage that night. It was shocking. I saw her sneaking into the bedroom with Ryan. They were kissing, touching, clearly about to have sex. The way she looked at him, her bitchy smirk, her eyes full of lust, made me sick. I could see her lying too, telling me she was at a spa or out with friends when she was really doing this. I sat there, trembling, watching her betray me right there on camera. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so stupid to think she loved me. She was a lying, cheating bitch, and I'd been nothing more than a fool. I knew I had enough evidence now. I had to confront her, but I didn't want to do it like some emotional wreck. I needed my anger in check, my words sharp and clear. I wanted her to understand she couldn't keep lying to me anymore. That night I stayed up, writing everything down, what I saw, what I felt, what I planned to say. I knew when I confronted her, everything would change. I didn't know if I was ready for that, but I knew I couldn't keep going like this. I had to take control. I had to make her face her lies, her betrayal, her bullshit. I was done being the idiot who turned the other cheek. This was war, and I was going to fight for what was left of my dignity. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a freight train. My head was pounding and my stomach felt like I'd swallowed a bunch of rocks, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I knew exactly what I had to do and I was determined to do it. No more hiding, no more pretending everything was fine. I grabbed my phone, pulled out the footage from the camera and saved it somewhere safe. I needed proof and I needed to be ready. I decided I wouldn't let her catch me off guard again. I started planning my approach. First, I needed to get her alone, no friends, no distractions. I'd waited long enough. I'd been putting this off, hoping maybe she'd change or somehow get caught up in remorse, but I knew better now. She was a master at lying, and I had to act fast before she got even more deceitful. That evening, I told her I had to go to the gym and wanted to work out for a couple of hours. She gave me that bitchy smirk she always did, said something sarcastic about how I was just trying to keep in shape. I pretending I didn't notice her tone. I knew she was suspicious, but I didn't care. I just wanted her to be alone. I went to a local park, parked my car, and waited. I had her phone number programmed, and I kept texting her, pretending I was just checking in. Then I called her, acting casual, saying I forgot my gym bag and wanted to drop it off at the house. She hesitated for a second, then said okay. I could hear her making her excuses, making herself look innocent. I knew she was nervous. I could hear it in her breathless voice. When she arrived, I was already waiting in the driveway. I was calm, calmer than I'd ever been. I told her I had something to show her. She looked annoyed, maybe even a little scared, when I pulled out the footage on my phone. I told her I was done playing games. I played the video for her, watching her face contort as she saw herself sneaking into that hotel room, kissing Ryan, acting like she was innocent. Her eyes widened and then she started lying again, flipping her script, saying it was a mistake, that she didn't mean anything, that it was just sex. But I wasn't buying it. Her bitchy attitude kicked in immediately. She started yelling, calling me paranoid, crazy, jealous, saying I was overreacting. She even told me I was insecure for doubting her, that I didn't trust her. It was the same old bullshit. I felt my blood boil. I was ready to explode, but I kept my voice steady. I told her she was a liar and a cheat, that I knew everything and I wasn't going to put up with her bullshit anymore. The look in her eyes, anger, defiance, a hint of guilt, said it all. I knew I'd cracked her open at least a little. That night I didn't sleep. I just sat there staring at the wall, thinking about what I'd just done. I'd finally confronted her with undeniable proof. It was a turning point, and I knew things would never be the same. I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I'd finally faced the truth, and now I had to decide what to do next. Do I stay and try to fix this mess, or do I walk away from someone so fundamentally dishonest? That question haunted me all night. The days that followed were a blur. After showing her that footage, Emily's bitchy facade was replaced with a stunned silence, like she couldn't believe I had actually caught her. She tried to deny it at first, claiming it was all a mistake, a misunderstanding, some stupid miscommunication. But I kept the footage running in my head, and I knew she was lying. Her eyes darted around, trying to come up with a new excuse, but she was caught dead to rights. I'll admit, I felt a rush of satisfaction at finally getting her to face the truth. But underneath that was a deep, aching betrayal. How had I been so blind? I thought I knew her, but she was nothing like the woman I married. Her lies and sneers, her bitchy attitude, she was just a manipulative, cheating bitch, plain and simple. The anger was still there, but now I also felt a sense of numbness, like I was just going through the motions. That night I told her I needed to think. She got all defensive again, started crying, throwing tantrums about how I was ruining everything. She yelled that I was overreacting, that it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything. But I'd already seen enough. I couldn't unsee what I saw, and I knew I couldn't stay with someone who lied so effortlessly, someone who took my trust and threw it in the trash. I decided I'd have to make a decision about what was next. I mean, part of me still loved her, crazy as that sounds, so maybe there was a chance to save the marriage if she was genuinely sorry. But I also knew that she'd be bitchy, manipulative, and probably lie her way out of anything if I let her. I couldn't keep living like this, not knowing if she was out cheating again or lying to my face. It was either walk away or fight for my sanity. The day after I confronted her, I told her I needed some time alone. I said I'd be staying with a friend for a while just to clear my head. She threw a fit, said I was overreacting, that I was being unfair, that she loved me. But I didn't believe her anymore. I felt like I'd been a fool for trusting her in the first place. I'd given her everything, my love, my life, and she had thrown it all away for some cheap sex with Ryan. Now I'm here trying to piece my life back together, knowing that everything has changed forever. I feel hurt, betrayed, furious, and honestly kind of lost. Part of me wants to just walk away, forget the whole thing, find someone who isn't so full of lies. But another part is still holding on to the hope that maybe she's truly sorry, that this was just a moment of weakness. I don't know. All I do know is that I'll never trust her the same way again, and I'll spend the rest of my life wondering how I missed all the signs. If you're reading this and you're going through something similar, just know it's brutal. Trust gets broken, and once it's gone, it's not coming back easily. Be careful who you marry and don't ignore the signs. And if you do find yourself in my shoes, don't wait too long to see the truth. Because once it's out in the open, everything changes, sometimes forever. Since confronting her with the footage, I've felt like I'm walking around in a fog. The house that once felt like a home now feels empty, hollow. Emily still acts like nothing's changed, throwing her bitchy attitude around, acting like I'm overreacting, trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm the one at fault. But I see through it now. I see the games, the lies, the manipulation. She's still trying to keep that facade up, but I know better. I've made my decision. I told her I want a divorce. I can't stay with someone who lied and cheated so effortlessly, who treats me like I'm some idiot who doesn't see what's really going on. She's screaming, crying, calling me crazy, like I'm the one who messed everything up. But I don't care anymore. I've already lost trust. There's nothing left to salvage. I realize now that love isn't enough when someone is willing to betray you this way. The process hasn't been easy. She's been trying to manipulate, to blame me, to turn things around. But I'm done with her arrogance, her lies, her bitchy attitude. I know I'll be better off without her. I'm hurt, yeah, but I also feel a strange sense of relief. For the first time in months, I can breathe. I can start healing. Looking back, I see all the signs I ignored, all the times she dismissed my concerns, the way she lied so effortlessly, and I realize I was blinded by the good times, by the hope that maybe she'd change. But she didn't, and I have to accept that some betrayals are just too deep to recover from. I've learned that trusting blindly is a mistake, and that sometimes you have to walk away from someone who's not worth the pain. So here I am, finally making peace with what's happened. I won't forget it, but I will move on. I want others to know, trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Because once you find out the truth, there's no going back. And sometimes the only way to regain your life is to let go of the person who shattered it. I'm rebuilding now, one day at a time, and I know I'll come out stronger. Betrayal hurts, but it also teaches you how to value yourself more. And that's the real lesson I take away from all this.